home. Plus, an island-wide blackout in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Fiona tears through the island. And in sports, Ohio field hockey gets back to their winning ways. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Madison Moore. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. Police file warrants after a 3-year-old was found locked inside a cage and a 2-year-old was found holding a drug pipe. Hocking County Sheriff's Department searched the home in Hocking County and found it in messy conditions. According to WLWT, the cage was filled with bugs and the bedding was soiled. 61-year-old Ella Webb has been arrested and charged with endangering children. Franklin Varney and Megan Smith were given the same charge, but they are still on the loose. The 2 children were taken and placed into emergency foster care, and those with information are urged to contact the Hocking County Sheriff's Office on the number on the screen. 2 burglary suspects were arrested after a vehicle chase into Fairfield County Friday. Hocking County Police received a report of a burglary at a residence on State Route 595 where items were stolen, including a firearm and checks. The Logan Daily News reports the police received a call from a local bank saying an individual was trying to cash one of the stolen checks. Deputies located the vehicle on US 33, but the vehicle failed to stop during the attempted traffic stop, resulting in a pursuit. Towards the end of the pursuit, the vehicle attempted to hit one of the sheriff's cruisers head-on, but the deputy avoided the head-on collision but was still struck. The driver and passenger of the vehicle received medical treatment. Hocking County deputies recovered the stolen property along with a significant amount of suspected fentanyl and other narcotics. An emergency crew rescued a first responder after a rollover crash involving a fire engine. According to the Middle Report Fire Department, the driver of the fire truck was returning from a fire run when the crash occurred. The driver was ejected from the vehicle and ended up trapped underneath the truck. WSAZ reports that the firefighter was extracted and flown to OSU in Columbus with disabling injuries. More information has yet to be released. Low-interest disaster loans are being offered to those affected by severe storms and flooding in West Virginia last spring. The agency said in a news release that the declaration covers Cabell County and bordering counties of Lincoln, Mason, Putnam in West Virginia, and Gallia and Lawrence in Ohio. Up to $2 million can be borrowed by businesses and private nonprofit organizations to repair or replace real estate machinery and equipment, inventory, and other business assets damaged or destroyed by the disaster, the agency said. Other assistance is also available to small businesses.
Good evening, I'm your lead forecaster, Erin Ashley, and right now outside your window you can expect mostly cloudy skies, but overall temperatures are looking in the upper 70s, 77 here in Athens. Very comfortable moving into the nighttime hours, but as we look outside our window, expect those clouds to really stick around. As you can see right here on the visible satellite image, we got some clouds moving out of our area, but are going to gradually stick around heading into tonight. But for the most part, that is set to change as soon as tonight, heading into tomorrow. And that brings a chance for rain, or brought a chance for rain earlier today. You can see that these scattered showers appeared over our region, but are luckily moving out towards the east. So heading into tonight, expect those clouds to sort of stick around, but we're not seeing a chance for rain as soon as tonight. And right now, those temperatures are sticking in the lower 80s, 82 degrees in Athens, a little bit cooler to the north up in Lancaster, 79 degrees. But overall, we're looking at pretty summer-like temperatures. I will talk about in my full forecast what we can expect with the fall equinox. But for now, back to you, Madison.
Thanks, Erin. First Energy CEO Steve Straw abruptly announced his retirement on Friday after just under 2 years on the job. Straw took over after First Energy's board of directors fired the previous CEO, Chuck Jones, in October of 2020. Straw also resigned from the board of directors. He will not receive a severance severance package, but does receive other retirement compensation. Strauss signed last year's plea deal, which First Energy admitted to bribing Republican former Speaker Larry Householder and former Public Utilities Commissioner Chair Sam Randazzo in agreeing to pay $230 million. Householder was pleaded not guilty and is scheduled to appear in trial in January. Randazzo hasn't been charged, and John Sommerholder II was named new interim president and CEO. Republican State Auditor Keith Faber announced there would be a special audit of pension fund supporting 157,000 retired Ohio teachers and their survivors last year. Now, State House correspondent Karen Kassler is asking when the state teachers' retirement system might be unveiled. Faber said this special audit should be done by the end of the year, but they're discovering some worrisome issues. Retired teachers hired an outside expert to look into STRS after not getting cost of living adjustments since 2017. The STRS board voted for a one-time 3% increase this year. The board awarded $10 million in performance incentives to investment managers. The fund lost $3 billion last year, about 3% of its overall value. A $100,000 donation was made to the Southeast Ohio Food Bank. The food bank has faced its lowest levels of inventory in years because of supply chain issues, food shortages, and the end of additional COVID-19 assistance. Due to the demand for food assistance, United Healthcare, CareSource, and 2 Ohio Medicaid managed care organizations donated to provide emergency food support through direct distributions in Jackson, Lawrence, Gallia, and Washington counties. Due to record low inventory, the food bank paused direct distributions earlier this summer. The Logan Daily News reports the demand for the Southeast Ohio Food Bank jumped by 60% since January due to rising costs for incentives like gas and groceries. It's been nearly 5 years since Hurricane Maria knocked Puerto Rico down, and now Fiona is doing the same. Plus, the Queen laid to rest in Windsor Castle. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Southeast Ohio football is as exciting as ever, and Gridiron Glory covers all the action from your team. 8 conferences bring the biggest stories from the 740, whether it's on our show every Friday night or on social media as one of our many digital games. So follow along, because Gridiron Glory is about more than just winning. It's community, it's pride, and it's tradition. So remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
How did these parks change America?
I'm Jeffrey Baer, and I'll be your guide
As we stroll through 10 game-changing city parks, from the squares of Savannah to Central Park to the San Antonio Riverwalk and more.
Find out which great green spaces made the list.
Of 10 parks that changed America.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
A visionary approach to medicine.
The needs of the patient come first.
Was invented over 120 years ago.
I couldn't have asked for anything better for her.
I've got another 25, 30 years in front of me for sure.
Faith, hope, and science. Those 3 things are absolutely critical.
You are never alone in your efforts to find an answer to that patient's problem.
Ken Burns presents The Mayo Clinic.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back. Hurricane Fiona is continuing to pour down on Puerto Rico today, causing an island-wide blackout and inundating communities still recovering from Hurricane Maria. But Fiona isn't finished yet. Mike Valero has the latest on the new round of devastation in Puerto Rico.
After the fury of Fiona, more than 1,000 rescues across Puerto Rico, nearly 5 years to the day after Hurricane Maria took aim at the island, knocking out Puerto Rico's power grid. In some instances now, officials say, the flooding may be worse. Puerto Rico's governor, Pedro Pierluisi, said, quote, the entire island was affected by heavy rain, and perhaps for that very reason, people can say this time the floods are worse than Maria. Carlos Vega took this video outside his home in Hormigueros. The floodwaters are near the Guanajibo River, which is at an all-time record height of nearly 30 feet. Help is coming from the mainland. New York sending Spanish-speaking police officers.
We'll have over 100 troopers from the New York State Police Department on their way to Puerto Rico over this next week. And as the need continues to rise, we'll be ready to offer other resources and support.
Fiona delivered an island-wide blackout. By early Monday, more than 1 million people in Puerto Rico were still without power. In eastern portions of the Dominican Republic, forecasters say life-threatening flash and urban flooding is likely through early Tuesday. Fiona is expected to strengthen in the coming days, nearing Bermuda by the end of the week. The National Hurricane Center calls for Fiona to reach Category 3 by Wednesday, making it the first major hurricane of the year in the Atlantic. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
After hitting the Dominican Republic, Fiona is expected to take a turn into the Atlantic, where it will likely strengthen. A funeral the size of which has not been seen since 1952. Thousands of people lined the streets to say a final goodbye to their Queen Elizabeth II today. Inside Westminster Hall, dozens of world leaders and members of the royal family fill the Abbey. Isabel Rosales is in Windsor.
A somber day for the United Kingdom as the world says goodbye to a queen whose reign spanned more than 7 decades, the longest reigning monarch in British history.
The grief of this day, felt not only by the late Queen's family, but all round the nation, the Commonwealth and the world, arises from her abundant life and loving service, now gone from us.
Westminster Abbey's tenor bell chiming once a minute for 96 minutes, marking each year of Queen Elizabeth II's life. Roughly 2,000 people attended, including world leaders like President Joe Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, and members of the royal family. Following the service, thousands of people lined the streets of London as the Queen's coffin passed Buckingham Palace for the final time.
We adore her, and that's why we are here, because we are part of the Commonwealth.
The crowds cheering as her coffin left London. The Queen laid to rest in Windsor Castle, near her husband of 73 years, Prince Philip. In London, I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
With the mourning period officially over in England, the country now turns to King Charles III to lead the nation in the Commonwealth. The new king faces a new Britain, one that wonders if there is a need for a monarchy in the country. King Charles is now tasked with bonding the monarchy's place and relevance in modern Britain. Statistics show that 2/3 of British people support keeping the monarchy. For some young people, the prospect of a new royal era strikes a different chord. Polls show twice as many 18 to 34-year-olds favored Britain becoming a republic. But as younger Britons are more wary of the monarchy, a majority of the UK look forward to the future and what King Charles' reign has in store for the nation.
As for me, I see a bright future. The monarchy is likely to continue because from the years that the Queen lived for, they know the importance of having a monarchy in the country.
In a couple of months, we'll be seeing the coronation of King Charles III. Do you think you'll be waiting for that?
Well, I've heard it's going to be next year. Is that right? If it's next year, I have no doubt we will do something, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure. Without doubt, yeah. I'll certainly, unless something keeps me away from it, I'll definitely be there. I've got a lot of affection for the royal family.
According to royal protocols, the coronation of King Charles III will take place 6 months after Queen Elizabeth's death. Currently, there is no date set for the coronation. What parents need to know in regards to the concern over nicotine gummies. That story's still ahead.
And it's still very much feeling like summer out there. You can see that high for tomorrow sitting in the low 80s. But when might it feel like fall? I'll talk about it in my full forecast, but for now, take a look at our social media on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitter.
How did these parks change America?
I'm Jeffrey Bear, and I'll be your guide
as we stroll through 10 game-changing city parks, from the squares of Savannah to Central Park to the San Antonio Riverwalk and more.
Find out which great green spaces made the list
of 10 parks that changed America.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
A visionary approach to medicine.
The needs of the patient come first.
Was invented over 120 years ago.
I couldn't have asked for anything better for her.
I've got another 25, 30 years in front of me for sure.
Faith, hope, and science. Those three things are absolutely critical.
You are never alone in your efforts to find an answer to that patient's problem.
Ken Burns presents The Mayo Clinic.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
Southeast Ohio football is as exciting as ever, and Gridiron Glory covers all the action from your team. 8 conferences bring the biggest stories from the 740, whether it's on our show every Friday night or on social media as one of our many digital games. So follow along, because Gridiron Glory is about more than just winning. It's community, it's pride, and it's tradition. So remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Welcome back to Newswatch. And earlier today we saw a 60% chance of thunderstorms, but that has since cleared out and let in a little bit of sun today, but we've seen mostly cloudy skies with that temperature sitting at 79 as the high. And tonight it's going to drop to about 60 degrees heading overnight. But right now above us, I pulled up the local radar to just remind you that those rain showers have moved out of our area for the time being, making for some very nice skies. And if I expand it, you can really get to see not much happening out here out west. Again, that's going to push out towards the east, makes for a beautiful rest of the night, looking at a temperature of 60 degrees. That fog is going to be dense heading out early in the morning tomorrow. That's because of high humidity in combination with rapidly rising temperatures. So if you're headed out early tomorrow, make sure that you're being careful out on the roads and taking it slow around windy roads as well, because again, that fog will stick around until tomorrow. It's going to be mostly sunny, very warm, 84 degrees as the high. It's going to feel even warmer because of that high humidity. So make sure you stay prepared for that. Don't be fooled by this 59 low temperature, because again, those warm temperatures are here to stay for a little bit, and that's because of some high pressure that's been sitting around our region. Now expect with this cold front out here up towards the northwest, we'll push down into our region overnight into Thursday actually, and that's going to be the reason for some dropping temperatures. But heading into tomorrow night, expect for those conditions to still be clear. Heading into Wednesday, again, that chance for rain will not appear until Wednesday night. We're looking at a 20% chance of thunderstorms and a high of 91 actually for Wednesday. It's going to feel very much like summer until that cold front moves through, making that high temperature, 69 degrees as soon as Thursday. It's going to be starting to feel like fall as soon as the beginning of fall appears later this week. Heading into our weekend, expect those temperatures to really stick around in the upper 60s. 67 degrees is the high on Friday with mostly sunny skies. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. If you have any weekend plans, you are all in the clear. Partly sunny skies on Saturday. The high is sitting in the low 70s, and a chance for rain does appear on Sunday with a high of 76. And if I bring up our 7-day, expect those chances of thunderstorms and rain to kind of stick around early into next week. Back to you, Madison.
Thanks, Erin. They're a public health crisis just waiting to happen. That's how the U.S. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner described nicotine gummies when it comes to our nation's youth. Mandy Gaither has more on the concern over these products and what parents need to know.
First, there were flavored cigarettes, then e-cigarettes. Now flavored gummies made with nicotine. The concern over this product so great, it's prompted an FDA warning.
These things can be discreet, easily concealable, and they can look just like candy.
Last month, the FDA sent this warning letter to one of the companies that makes nicotine gummies, advising that their products were not FDA approved and being sold illegally.
When you looked at the gummy packs themselves, we're talking about, at least in this company, 12 gummies per pack. Each gummy had about 1 milligram of nicotine. When you look at what's toxic to young children, anywhere from 1 to 4 milligrams, so that's 1 to 4 gummies, can be toxic to young kids.
The company, VPR Brands, didn't respond to a request for comment. Their website says the products are for adults and that the gummies have been discontinued. But other companies may be appealing to kids with other candy-looking nicotine products in the form of lozenges or gum. In a recent study, about 10% of 9th and 10th graders surveyed reported use of e-cigarettes, and more than 3% chose oral nicotine products. Large amounts could be dangerous.
Nausea, vomiting, changes in blood pressure, seizure, coma, and even death. Not to mention that nicotine is addictive and also can affect the growing brain in terms of potentially causing learning and memory problems.
Health experts say parents should be aware and talk to their children about the dangers. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The American Lung Association has criticized the FDA, saying the gummies were on the market for about 6 to 9 months before the agency sent its warning letter. A spokesperson for the organization says, and that's a sign that there will probably be many more kid-friendly nicotine products to come.
Coming up in sports, the Bobcats squared off against back-to-back Power 5 opponents. Find out how Ohio fared when Newswatch returns.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday at 10 on WOUB.
A visionary approach to medicine.
The needs of the patient come first.
Was invented over 120 years ago.
I couldn't have asked for anything better for her.
I've got another 25, 30 years in front of me for sure.
Faith, hope, and science. Those three things are absolutely critical.
You are never alone in your efforts to find an answer to that patient's problem.
Ken Burns presents The Mayo Clinic.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
Southeast Ohio football is as exciting as ever, and Gridiron Glory covers all the action from your team. 8 conferences bring the biggest stories from the 7-4-0, whether it's on our show every Friday night or on social media as one of our many digital games. So follow along, because Gridiron Glory is about more than just winning. It's community, it's pride, and it's tradition. So remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
How did these parks change America?
I'm Jeffrey Baer, and I'll be your guide
as we stroll through 10 game-changing city parks, from the squares of Savannah to Central Park to the San Antonio Riverwalk and more.
Find out which great green spaces made the list
of 10 parks that changed America.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
The Bobcats are now 1-2 on the year after dropping a game to the Iowa State Cyclones. Getting things going on the ground. They were only able to gain 24 total rushing yards on offense. The offense went into Saturday's game without a turnover, but things quickly changed. Quarterback Curtis Rourke threw 2 interceptions during the game and lost 2 fumbles as well. Head coach Tim Albin knows the Bobcats have to get going earlier in the game once entering MAC play. Coach Albin said that there's a couple things that stand out. They just need to find their way to start faster. In all 3 games at this point, they've been solid in the second quarter, so they just got to get going and get that resolved. The Bobcats are back in action at home Saturday against undefeated Fordham. Last Friday, Gridiron Glory traveled to Waterford for the game of the week to watch the Waterford Wildcats take on the Eastern Eagles. This game had huge TVC hawking implications since the conference was wide open. The Wildcats struck first with a touchdown pass from Jake Panelitis to Landon Flaherty. Eastern was able to fight back with a touchdown coming courtesy of running back Riley Barrett, but the Wildcats were too much. They overpowered Eastern on the ground and through the air en route to a 29-13 victory, making them 1-0 in conference play. To watch more high school football action in the 740, tune into Gridiron Glory Friday night at 11:30 p.m. Friday night football featured another OVC instant classic. Gallia Academy put their undefeated record to the test against the Portsmouth Trojans. Both teams matched each other's intensity and traded big plays throughout the game. The Blue Devils found themselves down 34-33 with 54 seconds left, but when the game was on the line, Gallia kicker Caleb Stout was on his prime, knocking through a 31-yard field goal to seal the deal for the Blue Devils. After losing 2 straight on the road, the Ohio University field hockey team returned home to take on Queens University of Charlotte. The first half was all Bobcats on offense, shooting 12 times but coming out of the half empty-handed. Mine Chalent and Sasha Takala found the back of the net in the second half, and the Bobcats defense held strong in a 2-0 victory. Head coach Allie Johnson credits the defensive plan to the shutout win.
At the beginning it got a little tricky, but then we figured out like how they were, outletting their balls. So our press was really good, and so once you come, our plan was once you come up with it, as soon as you get it, you need to find that pass.
Ohio field hockey travels to take on Longwood on Friday at 6 p.m. The Ohio women's volleyball team took on Notre Dame as part of a Bulldog brawl on Saturday. The Bobcats dropped the first set to the Fighting Irish 25-23, but then came right back and won the second set by a score of 25-23. The momentum Ohio had was lost after dropping the third set 25-21 and the fourth set 25-15. The Irish walked away with a victory in 4 sets, but OU still had some bright spots. Tria McLean recorded 40 assists and Caroline Clippard had 15 kills. The Bobcats are back in action, kicking off MAC play against Miami Friday at the Convo at 6 p.m.
Yes.
And it's really great to see them get to come home after that long road trip.
Yes, that rivalry will make a good matchup.
For sure. If you put Miami up against Ohio at any point, it's going to be a great time.
Yes, and we're going to hand it over to Erin for final weather.
Thank you, Madison. And a little bit of a reminder about tonight's weather and a little bit of a warning about that dense fog for tomorrow morning. We're looking at temperatures in the low 60s, and looking at tomorrow, temperatures are going to climb all the way up to the lower 80s, Mostly sunny skies going to make things feel a lot warmer tomorrow. And heading into Wednesday, expect a high of 91 degrees, a short chance for thunderstorms overnight into Thursday, but overall, it's been an absolutely beautiful rest of the week.
Bad Bunny is not living up to his name. Instead, he's doing the kind of good that may move you to tears. Take a look at the Puerto Rican singer enjoying some time with a 10-year-old, Maya Zamora, one of the survivors of the deadly shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. The global superstar not only invited Maya and her family to his concert, but he helped her feel safe again. This little girl was in the hospital for 66 days and had to go through more than 20 surgeries for gunshot wounds to her hands, arms, chest, and back. But when she finally got out, she was scared to go home because she found out the man who shot her and killed Bad Bunny was one of the people who donated money to the Korea Family Foundation, which is buying Maya and her family a new home. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Madison Moore, and stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WUB.org or follow us on social media. Now for a final look at Westminster Hall. Have a great night.
Support comes from Snyder Strode Jarrett Financial in Athens, providing investment and retirement planning assistance to Southeast Ohio for over 50 years.